BGSU men's basketball returns to the Stroh Center for the first time in 2026 for the Bill Frack Game and Alumni Day as they battle the Akron Zips, the reigning MAC champions, seeking to end a 7-game losing streak. Great to be with you all tonight. Tyler Kavlitz here alongside Foster Rosti from the Falcon Media Sports Network. And I guess, Foster, we'll start right there with it. 7 straight losses against this Akron Zips program, which has been also dominant in the Mid-American Conference really ever since John Gross got the job a few years back. What are you looking for in this matchup tonight between these two teams that right now rank 6th and 7th in the conference?
Well, dominant almost feels like an understatement for this Akron team. Back-to-back MAC championships, projected to not only win the MAC regular season, but the MAC championship this year in the tournament. They have been a great team. They're always going to be a good, slow-it-down team. Defensively, they have great defense every game. So if you want to look at this game, it's going to be a defensive game.
We will take a short break here for the national anthem, and when we come back, we will have the rest of the pregame show for BGSU men's basketball against Akron right here on Falcon Radio. Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU Student Media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon Media Sports Network writes and publishes over 1,000 stories per year, including game previews, recaps, sidebars, opinion pieces, feature stories, and more. Head over to bgfalconmedia.com to view all of our content for every sport throughout the year.
Interested in joining Falcon Media Sports Network? If you're looking to get involved, send an email to sports@bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps, photos, videos, and more of the Falcons.
About 7 minutes until tip-off here at the Stroh Center. Bowling Green and Akron getting ready to face off. Akron coming into this contest at 11-4 overall, 2-1 in the Mid-American Conference. They currently stand 6th in the Mid-American Conference standings. Bowling Green 11-5, 2-2 in the MAC. The Falcons are right behind the Zips in the standings in 7th place. Bowling Green in their most recent game coming off a 96-93 loss on the road against Kent State on Tuesday. Akron on Tuesday took care of business against Central Michigan with an 82-69 win. So, Foster, first looking over at this Akron team, it is a dominant offense. They are 5th in the nation with 94.5 points per game, 4th in the nation with a 52.8% team field goal percentage, and 6th in the nation with 20.7 assists per game. What impresses you most about John Gross's offensive unit?
I think it's the assists. They move the ball very well, and that can really help get the defenses out of position. When you're moving the ball, especially at that high level that we talked about they do, it gets the defenses out of position and opens up easy shots all around the court for an offense, especially an Akron offense that we just kind of talked about. Very good offensively, 52.8% from the field. They're going to take the shots they take are going to be high percentage shots, and especially when they're moving the ball at the level they do, they're going to get those high percentage shots.
Something to watch with Akron tonight. Coming into this game, they only turn the ball over just around 11 times per game. It's the second best mark in the MAC. It's top 75 in the country. on Tuesday in their win over Central, they turned the ball over 19 times, allowed the Chippewas to score 21 points off turnovers. John Gross post-game said, quote, "If we turn it over 19 times like we did here tonight, they're going to run us out of the Stroh Center. So we've got to be better taking care of the basketball than what we were tonight." What do you think Akron can do offensively to avoid this Bowling Green defense from being as dominant forcing turnovers as they have been all season?
Well, I think the first thing, it starts with breaking that full court press that we see Bowling Green use sometimes sparingly, but they do like to throw it at teams. But what they have to do to avoid the amount of turnovers is just be smart with the ball. Bowling Green is a very opportunistic defense. With the light passes, if it's a lob pass, you'll see Mayer roll 6'9". He'll get his arms in the passing lane. You will see these players with, whenever there's just a light pass, Bowling Green's going to take advantage of it. So every pass that Akron has to make today has to be with confidence. That's where they're going to pass it. They're not going to think about a secondary pass. That's the pass they're making. And when they make those passes, put some emphasis on them. Just get them to the players quick.
As I mentioned, Akron has won 7 straight against Bowling Green. The Zips won both games against the Falcons last season, 71-68 on January 3rd. In that game, which was at Bowling Green, Akron came back down from 13 points to beat BG. And then they proceeded to absolutely dominate the Orange and Brown, 96-67 in the MAC tournament on March 13th. That, though, was a very beaten down Bowling Green team. So you can't really take too much into that one. They are led by John Gross in his 9th season at the helm of the Akron Zips. He is 359, 223 overall as a head coach, 179 and 92 at Akron, 101 and 50 in Mid-American Conference play. He has 5 MAC tournament championships, 2 MAC regular season championships, and he is a 2-time MAC Coach of the Year. Now looking over at Bowling Green, Foster, I mentioned it with how Akron is going to fare against this Bowling Green defense. That is the strength of this Falcons team coming into the contest, second in the conference, allowing 70.4 points per game, but they pride themselves on being able to force teams into bad decisions and get turnovers. 18.5 turnovers per game, ranks second in the country. 12.1 steals per game, ranks first in the country, led by Javante Campbell with 53 steals, who leads the country in that category.
Yeah, and Javante Campbell, point of attack defender is what you think of when you see him playing. He gets up in those guards and really hassles them up and down the court from full court. But it's not just that. He has a great mind to read passing lanes and jump those lanes to get easy layups and easy fast break points for this Bowling Green defense. But it's not just Javante Campbell who has their arms in the passing lanes. Mayer Wool in Kent State game, 2 steals, one of which was a pass that they tried to lob over the top down low, and his arm length is just too long for that to happen. He can get those arms up and get a quick steal, and you have Troy Glover down low. Normally a shot blocker, but very good at getting his long arms in passing lanes, getting steals, and then getting that Falcon offense out and running.
Now, Bowling Green has been allowing quite a bit of points recently. They allowed 93 against Miami, 100 against UMass, and then 96 most recently against Kent State. After that performance against the Golden Flashes, head coach Todd Simon said defensively we didn't get enough stops. We've got to remedy that, and we've got to get tougher. We've got to make those plays down the stretch when we need to. The important thing I took out of that, hearing that postgame, was the we've got to get tougher part. I asked Javante Campbell whether the struggles right now have been physical or mental, and he said both. What do you get out of those two comments?
Well, I do agree that it's been a little of both. When the game, especially the way Kent State went, close down the line, 1 or 2 balls didn't bounce your way, it can really take that mental toll on the team. But at the same time, this team at Kent State missing Javon Ruffin, Sam Towns fouls out, Justin Thomas minutes restriction coming off an injury. The game before that at UMass, Javante Campbell plays every minute of that overtime win. That can take a big emphasis on just
played every minute against Kent State as well.
That takes
85 of 85 minutes.
Just takes a toll on the body. You have to find a way. Maybe Campbell can handle it. He's shown he can handle it the last 2 games. But he needs to have somebody else step up in this game. And Sam Towns was doing a good job of it at Kent State. but somebody else has to step up to help him to take a little bit of that load off his shoulder. Because at Kent State, 28 points, added 8 assists, if I remember correct. Just all-around game. He's been doing it all for this Falcons team. Somebody else has to step up and help him out a lot.
Bowling Green is in the midst of their hardest part of the conference schedule right now. They are wrapping it up currently. They started at Ohio, then faced Miami here at the Stroh Center, at UMass, at Kent State, now home against Akron. Those 5 teams were the top 5 teams in the MAC preseason poll that the Falcons have had to go up immediately against to be in conference play. Todd Simon said about that post-game against Kent State, we know some of our shortcomings in a hurry. You don't have a lot of time to work on them because the next game's coming up on you quick. It's not a great time to be shorthanded like we are, but the next man up, and we'll just keep grinding away. And speaking of that availability, you mentioned Javon Ruffin not at the game against Kent State. We did see him here today at the Stroh Center in pregame warmups. Looks like he should be good to go. He is not in the starting lineup. We'll get to those in a second. But we should expect to see Javon Ruffin, and Justin Thomas should also be expected to go, and we'll see if he gets closer to 30 minutes than he did against the Golden Flashes.
Yeah, and Justin Thomas is such an interesting piece for this Bowling Green team as just a whole. He does a little bit of everything. Scores at a good level. He can also dish out passes, assists, steals, blocks. He does a little of everything. He's a great glue guy for this team, and losing him is a lot for this team. He's done a great job of just being an all-around part of it. So getting him back, getting him working into that lineup, maybe having a bit of a more extended play in this game could be huge for this Falcons team as they go up against a great Akron team. But you talked about it just a little bit, that preseason poll, Akron, Miami, Kent State, and UMass. UMass has been the one outlier there. UMass still has not got a win in MAC play in their first season of MAC play, coming off an A-10 season last year. So preseason polls aren't everything, but still, when we know the MAC, Akron's always going to be a great team to go up. Great coach. They're going to know how to play. Same with Kent State and Miami. As we can see Miami this year and their undefeated streak. You have to figure out a way what is going to set you apart of those teams and what's going to put you over the hump to beat those teams. And for Bowling Green, if they can sit down and play defense at the level we know they can, that's going to be what can really set them apart.
It is Bill Frack Day here at the Stroh Center. Bill Frack, longtime supporter of the Bowling Green men's basketball program, donated about $20 million over his time, is honored with his chair every year, so that is a cool moment that just happened here at the Stroh Center. It's also Alumni Day, so we'll see some alumni get announced out onto the court at halftime. Always cool festivities right as students are about to return here to campus with school starting on Monday. The starting lineups for these two teams are out. Akron, as they have gone with, are going to go with a smaller lineup, 4 guards and 1 forward. It will be Evan Mahaffey, the 6'6", 215-pound senior wing from Cincinnati, Ohio. He'll be joined by Zach Halligan, 6'5", 210 redshirt sophomore wing from Uniontown, Ohio. Joining them will be Sharon Young, 6', 160-pound sophomore guard from Morgantown, West Virginia. Alongside the final guard will be Tavari Johnson, their do-it-all, all-MAC first-team guard, standing at 6', 170 pounds, a senior from LaGrange, Illinois. Rounding out the starting 5 is the big man, 6'9", 240-pound forward, a redshirt senior from Columbus, Ohio, Amani Lyles. For Bowling Green, it'll be a lineup that we saw against Kent State. Javante Campbell, the 6'2", 185-pound senior guard from Muskogee, Oklahoma. He will be joined by the sophomore guard, 6'4", 212, Josiah Shackelford from Sanford, Florida. Those are the 2 guards in the starting lineup for Bowling Green. They go a little bigger than Akron does. Myar Wool, 6'8", 196-pound junior forward from Raleigh, North Carolina. And he is joined by the 2 big men down low. Sam Town, 6'9", 200-pound senior forward from Columbus, Ohio, and Troy Glover II, 6'10", 225 senior forward from Wheaton, Illinois.
Yeah, and that bigger lineup for Bowling Green, last time we saw it at Kent State, worked pretty well, especially shooting-wise. Myra Wool and Josiah Shackelford, great three-point shooters for this Bowling Green offense. And Sam Towns, who can step behind the arc and knock down the three, it does a great job, especially for Campbell, who we know likes to get down into the paint and score layups and contested hard shots down in the paint before stepping behind the arc and taking some threes. So I kind of like this lineup. I would like to see, Javon Ruffin get some run today. He's now back with the team as we talk. Justin Thomas, a little bit of basketball play, just kind of extending on what he has.
And that is the interesting thing. You look at it, this is the second time the starting lineup has been run out there. The first time was on Tuesday against Kent State. They lost that game. The normal starting lineup for Bowling Green when they can go to it has been Campbell, Ruffin, Thomas, Towns, and Glover. They're 7-2 with that lineup. With any other lineup combination, they are just 4-3.
Well, I do think, the first time you run a lineup, there's a lot of working out process to do. It doesn't matter how much practice you have. It doesn't matter all that stuff. It's kind of rough to figure it out. Josiah Shackelford was in the starting lineup early in the season with Campbell and Thomas, but as the season went on, they put Ruffin in over him, a little bit of a more veteran presence. But they got a couple days of practice in. They got that full game under their belt of what this offense can look like with Meyer Wool and Josiah Shackelford in it. And I think this game, it'll look a little bit different than that first one of what's the offense going to look like, where are they going to go, how's the plays going to develop with this different look offense, and how's the defense going to look. Meyer Wool, as we talked about a little bit beforehand, long arms, great at getting into the passing lanes. Shackelford, a very good defender as well. Not as high of a level as some of the other Falcons on this roster, but he can really defend at a high level regardless of that. And I'd like to see him really pick it up, get a couple of steals, get the Falcons off, fast break, and then hit down those couple of threes that we know he can knock down. And when he gets started behind the arc, watch out, because he can really knock them down at a high level.
76th all-time meeting between these programs. Akron leads the series 47-28. They have won 7 straight. Falcons will be going for their first win against Akron since 2021 in their first win against the Zips here at the Stroh Center since 2020. Should be getting tip-off here in just a few seconds. It will be Amani Lyles, it will be Evan Mahaffey and Troy Glover II going at it at the midcourt logo. Glover wins it, and Bowling Green will start with the ball. We are underway here at the Stroh Center. Javante Campbell with the ball, moving top of the key, now moving to his left. Picks up his dribble, swings it cross court to Meyer Wool, and Wool stepped out of bounds right in front of the supporters there. On the first possession, just a mistake by Meyer Wool. Early game, turnover for the Falcons.
Yeah, and Javante Campbell picked up by Evan Mahaffey, the 2-year Buckeye and freshman at Penn State. So keep an eye on that matchup just to see how those two handle it, because Mahaffey's a much bigger guard.
Amani Lyles ripped an early three-pointer, did not go. Mahaffey got the rebound, kicked it out for another attempt, which also did not fall. That was from Tavari Johnson. Sam Towns collected the rebound. Javante Campbell with the ball, midcourt logo. Looking for any options. 10 on the shot clock. Gives it off to Josiah Shackelford. Pulls up from the free throw line. His jumper too strong off back iron. Rebounded by Lyles. Tavari Johnson with the ball. Johnson spinning his way through traffic. Gives it off back to Lyles. Lyles trying to bounce it inside. Could not get his target, which was Sharon Young, but there was contact and a whistle. Appears that it will be against Bowling Green.
Yeah, it looks like they'll get Shackelford down low. Definitely guarding hard early in this game.
Inbound goes to Young, and he drains a triple right in front of the Bowling Green bench. That puts Akron up early 3-0. Just over a minute gone by here at the Stroh Center. Sharon Young has been an addition to that starting lineup for the Zips, as this one's taken away by Evan Mahaffey. Just picked off a pass from Javante Campbell right in front of him. Clogged up that passing lane and finishes it with an emphatic dunk on the other end. Akron up 5-0.
Yeah, and that's what Evan Mahaffey does. He did that at Ohio State. He's doing it now here at a high level at Akron. Clogging up passing lanes, getting steals, and getting out, getting dunks.
Was all over Javante Campbell, and he's continuing to give him fits. Campbell has to pick up his dribble, give it off to Sam Towns. Towns now trying to drive inside, spins his way in, left hand off the backboard is pure. 5-2, the new score. Akron still ahead. Amani Lyles with the ball. hands it off to Tavari Johnson. Johnson averaging 25 points per game over his past 5 games, and that one is swatted away into the crowd as he tried to drive inside. Akron will inbound, but they will turn it over right after the inbound. It was swatted away by Javante Campbell, and there is a foul on Akron. They're going to assign it to Omani Lyles after the inbound. So Akron, with their first turnover of the game, gives Bowling Green the ball back. Falcons down 5-2, 17.5 to play in the first half. Todd Simon rocking his orange suit. John Gross, his normal navy blue vest. To the top coaches in the Mid-American Conference. Shackelford, a triple from the far side corner, does not fall. Rebounded by Zach Halligan. Pass inside to Omani Lyles through the contact. Gets it off the backboard to go. He'll go to the line for a chance at a 3-point play off of the assist from Evan Mahaffey.
And that'll be his second foul on Josiah Shackelford as we see a sub come in here. Javon Ruffin coming in, getting Shackelford out of the game early.
Very similar to how quick Sam Towns picked up his 2 fouls in the first half against Kent State.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Bowling Green, they have to stop fouling this quick if they want to have some solidarity in that starting lineup.
Knocked down at the free throw line by Lyles. Lyles averaging 15 points per game this season. He's scored 20-plus 3 times. And he's an efficient shooter, 7th in the MAC in field goal percentage. Akron leads 8-2. Sam Towns with the ball, right wing, pulls a triple, too strong. Nice closeout by Halligan. Tavari Johnson with the ball, the speedsy guard. Guarded by Campbell, moving to his left, kicks it out. Sharon Young pulls a triple from the near side wing, and he drains it. Akron lights out to begin here at the Stroh Center, 11-2, a 9-point lead over the Falcons.
And we've seen Bowling Green get into these types of games where they try to shoot their way back into a game, and they have struggled from behind the arc at times in games.
Meyer Wool with the ball, guarded by Johnson, now double teamed by Lyles, gets it out to Towns, cross court to Ruffin into the corner. Ruffin driving inside, contact made before he could make his way into the paint. They will assign the foul to Zach Halligan. How about Sharon Young, though? Already with 6 points here today. He's started the past 4, been inserted into the starting lineup for Akron. And last year against Bowling Green averaged 14.5 points in 2 games. This one's picked off here by Tavari Johnson on the errant pass by Sam Towns. He lobs it up, and what a finish. Omani Lyles slammed it home with the left hand off of the lob. And Akron is up by 11, 13-2, with 16-19 remaining in the first half, forcing a timeout to be called by Todd Simon.
What a start if you're Akron. 13-2 run to get the game started, and it's just been all Akron early as they've got 2 players with more than 5 points already. Lyles and Young both getting great starts out of the gate, and 2 steals already for the Zips to really get out and get going. And those 2 steals, as we've seen, early points for Akron. Bowling Green's got to settle into their offense as this Akron defense has really been giving them fits early.
And it's the defense into the offense, already 4 fast break points out of the 13 for Akron. We will see what Bowling Green can scheme up during this timeout, but as it stands right now, 13-2, Akron leads by 11 with over 16 minutes to go in the first half here at the Stroh Center. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball right here on Falcon Radio.
You are listening to Falcon Radio, for Falcons by Falcons, and home of the Falcon Media Sports Network.
On September 17, 2025, BGSU Volleyball swept the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, marking head coach Alex Del Piombo's first home win leading the Falcons. Falcon Media Sports Network's Ben Korak had the call of the moment at the Stroh Center.
Anders to Otten, Otten to Hobson. Hobson throws it down. A 3-set sweep for Bowling Green in the 2025 home opener and the first home win for head coach Alex Del Piombo.
This has been a Falcon Media Sports Network featured call.
Check out live updates on X at BG_FMSN.
Akron shooting 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from deep. Bowling Green just 1 for 4 in the first 3+ minutes. And it has allowed the Zips to go on an 8-0 run over the past minute 41, which has propelled them to a 13-2 lead very early on here at the Stroh Center. Tyler Kavlitz alongside Foster Alstai from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Holden Ruck doing the board operating back in the studio. We have Dawson Pelter here writing the recap, and Henry Costco doing some video for us. All of that content will be available on bgfalconmedia.com. Javante Campbell hands off the ball to Sam Towns. Back to Campbell, left wing. Towns moving to the right with it, still on the perimeter. Towns, Ruffin, Campbell, Wool, and Goins on the court for Bowling Green. Into Sam Towns, double team, finger roll layup in the paint, does not go. And I believe they're going to call an offensive foul on Sam Towns.
That's what they
will. Looks like they're going to say he lowered his shoulder too much going into that double team, trying to get the layup up. Would have been rebounded by Akron regardless. So the only downside is you have a foul assigned to Sam Towns, who fouled out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Young with the ball, hands it off here, and to newly checked in Eric Mahaffey, the brother of Evan Mahaffey. His layup does not go. It is rebounded by Bowling Green. They went out inbound in front of their own bench, and we're actually going to have a replay here by John Gross.
Yeah, it's going to be his first coach's challenge of the game. Obviously, challenges, if they win it, they keep the challenge and the timeout. If they lose it, they lose the challenge and the timeout taken.
What did you see on that play there?
Well, that was for this rebound challenge. It did look like it went off a Falcon, unfortunately, but we're up here in the Concord. It is very hard to see exactly what's happening. So I would not be surprised if this call gets overturned and stays with the Zips.
We will stick here through it as the officials look. Don't expect this one to be a crazy lengthy one. Should not be any time involved as well. Sharon Young is the leading scorer early on. He has 6 points. Tavari Johnson is the only Zip in the starting lineup still out there on the court. He's right now joined by Shama Scott, Bowen Hardman, Marvin Musame Kamali, and Eric Mahaffey.
As they will have the call on the court. The call on the court is overturned. It is Akron ball. They'll get it with 20 seconds left on the shot clock.
And John Gross had a good look. He was right down the line there to see it. Was adamant that it was off a Falcon, and he was correct. Inbound goes to Shama Scott. Scott guarded by Ruffin, works around a screen here, but keeps the ball. Now step back jumper over Ruffin, no good. Rebounded by Mahaffey. It's kicked out to Tavari Johnson. First team All-MAC selection last season, moving inside, lobs it up here, and it's slammed home by Eric Mahaffey. The Falcons were left with just one defender in the paint. Tavari Johnson saw that, took advantage of it. Campbell runs into Goins on the other side. It's kicked out to Wool, and I think Wool stepped out of bounds for the second time.
Yeah, that's what they're going to have called. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong for the Falcons here early in this game. 15-2.
They just look bobbled on both sides of the ball right now. Akron has them not knowing where to turn or what to do.
Yes, this Akron offense has just got, like we said, they move the ball very well, and that's what they're doing. They're moving without the ball, keeping the Falcons out of position.
Tavari Johnson with it, top of the key, guarded by Campbell, hands it off here, and it's slammed home by Eric Mahaffey with 2 hands. Second straight dunk by Mahaffey, and it's a 15-point Akron lead, 17-2. They are on a 12-0 run over the Falcons on their home court. Campbell with the ball, guarded by Mahaffey, switched on to Johnson. We're going to have a foul. Glover was setting a screen. It's a blocking foul on Tavari Johnson as he moved around the screen to pick up Javante Campbell. Sam Towns will inbound it in front of the Akron bench. 20 left on the shot clock for the Falcons. Down 17-2, 14:38 to play in the first half. Akron coming out firing on all cylinders on both sides of the court. Swung over to Javon Ruffin. Far side wing three, no good, rattles out. Brought up the court by Shema Scott. He hands it off to Eric Mahaffey. Back to Scott, top of the key. Scott moves to his left, now gives it off into Eric Mahaffey. Acrobatic left-handed layup goes around the Bowling Green defender, Troy Glover II. 19-2 Akron, 17-point lead, 14-0 run. Glover double teamed. Kicks it out to Ruffin. Ruffin makes a defender miss, slides inside. His layup off the backboard, falling away, does not go. Shema Scott rebounds it, brings it up the court. Scott moving to his left, now in the paint, spins away from Ruffin. Fadeaway J, no good. Almost stuck on the rim. Campbell takes it, gives it off to Sam Towns. Towns in transition, jump stop, short on the shot, surrounded by three zips. Back to Scott. Both teams missing their past few shots. Offense is stalling out here. Mahaffey gives it off to Tavari Johnson. Thought about a triple before he was picked up by Makai Leach. Back to Johnson. We're going to have a whistle. Not exactly saw what they did. It's going to be a carry by Tavari Johnson. 19-2. Akron leads. You did hear that correctly. A 17-point lead for the Zips with 13:25 to play in the first half. Bowling Green is scoreless for the past 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Akron has gone on a 14-0 run. If you go back to 5.5 minutes, they are on a 16-2 run. If you go for the full game, they're on a 19-2 run. Javante Campbell kicks it out to Sam Towns. Towns over into the corner for Justin Thomas. His triple goes off the top of the backboard, but falls back into play, so we're continuing action. Shema Scott with the ball. Moving to his left, guarded by Campbell. Gives it off to Amani Lyles. Lyles up top, now swung over to Scott. Scott gives it off to Mahaffey. Now it's inside to Lyles. Back outside. Back to Lyles. Lyles moving around Towns. Inside, stripped away. Towns gets the steal. Gives it off to Thomas. Now Towns will bring it up the court. Swings it over to Leach. Leach flying inside. Layup no good. There was contact. No foul called. Bowling Green 1 for 9 from the field.
The Falcons in that 1-3-1 zone. We see them run constantly.
Amani Lyles swings it out to Eric Mahaffey. Mahaffey's triple airballed. Lyles there to collect it and put up the putback layup over Troy Glover. 21-2. A 19-point lead for Akron with 12 minutes to play in the first half. Bowling Green with just 2 points in the first 8 minutes of play. Sam Towns triple from the far side wing, no good. Troy Glover II collects the rebound and puts it back. First Bowling Green point in over 6 minutes. Mahaffey with the ball down low, kicks it out. There's a deep triple from Bowen Hardman. Hardman shooting 34% from deep this season, was just 4 for 16 on triples in his first 3 MAC games this season, connects on his first 2 today. Javante Campbell drives inside. He collects contact from 2 defenders as he misses the layup, but he will go to the line for 2 free throws. We will have to wait after the media timeout for that, though. Bowling Green down by 20, 24-4, with 11:27 left to play in the first half. You're listening to BGSU men's basketball against the Akron Zips here at the Stroh Center, right here on Falcon Radio.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Now back to more Falcon men's basketball coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network.
About everything that could have gone wrong for Bowling Green men's basketball so far today has gone wrong. Against the Akron Zips, the Falcons trail by 20 points with 11:27 left to go in the first half, 24-4. Tyler Kamlitz here alongside Foster Rothstein from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Foster, what has gone wrong for Bowling Green?
Well, like you said, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong, but most importantly, 2 for 11 from the field to start the game, 0 for 5 from 3. 18.2% field goal shooting is the biggest thing that I can say has gone wrong. But on the other end, Akron has just gotten whatever they want. Multiple dunks, a couple alley-oops. They have just had whatever they wanted and had success at a high level.
5 turnovers by the Falcons. Still just 4 fast break points for Akron, but the Zips have taken 6 more shots than Bowling Green. Javante Campbell goes 1 for 2 from the line. It's rebounded by the Zips. Sharon Young with the ball. He gives it off to Javari Johnson. Johnson has scored 20-plus points in 5 straight games. Misses on a triple there. Scrambled for the ball. Bowling Green comes up with it. Javante Campbell trying to go coast to coast is fouled by Johnson as he gets into the paint.
That'll be Johnson's second foul of the game.
Tavari Johnson has been on a heater, leads the MAC with 20.7 points per game. He's also third in the MAC with 5.3 assists per game. Can do it all. He'll be one of those players along with Javante Campbell, along with Delrico Gillespie, who we just saw at Kent State, that will be in the conversation for MAC Player of the Year come March. I'm sure Jackson Pavletsky and players from Miami will be in that conversation
Byers
as well.
from Miami, last year's freshman of the year, already having a great season this year.
We'll expect to see that field get smaller and smaller as we get close to March.
After the second half of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge.
But Tavari Johnson, Javante Campbell going to be 2 players who are very much in there. Campbell drops it off for Glover down low. Glover spins away from a defender. Puts it up with the right hand strong, gets it to go. 24-7. The new score, Akron leading. Evan Mahaffey with the ball. Gives it off. Shamal Scott, top of the key. To Mahaffey down low. Now outside, Bowen Hardman. Deep triple, got it to go. 2 for 2 from deep. Bowen Hardman puts Akron up 27-7, back to a 20-point advantage. Myar Wall has to jump on the baseline and pass it in before he falls out of bounds. Gets it out to Campbell, who gives it off to Towns. Back to Campbell, far side wing. Campbell launches a deep 3. Don't see that often, but he drills it.
That's what you need for Bowling Green. You need to start having everybody hit shots.
27-10, Javante Campbell, big triple for Bowling Green. See if that can get some momentum for them, their first 3-pointer of the game. Mahaffey down low, puts a lob up over Glover, did not fall, almost rattled in. Campbell throws cross court to Ruffin, he gives it off to Towns. Pass was a bit high, had to jump for it and give it to Towns before he fell out of bounds. Campbell driving inside with the left hand, switches to the right, but he is fouled before he can put up a shot through contact. Javante Campbell is just so good at driving inside and collecting contact, kind of how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is for the NBA. He's just able to move inside and use his momentum and balance to fall into guys and get enough contact. Over the past 2 games, Javante Campbell has attempted 40 free throws.
Yeah, and it just starts with his speed. He's a quick player. He'll get downhill fast, and it takes one move for him to get his defender out of the way and get down in the paint.
Campbell moving around a Myra wall screen, driving inside against Hardman, puts up a teardropping layup, does not fall. Rebounded by the Zips. Shamal Scott with it, gives it off to Mahaffey. Back to Scott. Scott gives it off Sharon Young. Deep triple, too strong off, back ironed. It's rebounded by Glover. He was double teamed after getting the rebound. Got a pass out to Towns. Now to Ruffin in the near side corner. Up to Glover, top of the key. Spin move, driving in the paint. Puts up a floater, does not fall. Rebounded by Sam Towns. He passes it out to Myra Wool. Ruffin with it, kicks it out to Towns. Towns triple, no good, too short. Glover collects it as he was falling to the ground. And that's going to be a foul on Marvin Musime Kamali, who was tied up with Glover. Glover was able to grab the ball as he fell flat on his back. Looks like he may have gotten the wind knocked out of him a bit. But one thing I'm noticing with Bowling Green, and this may be the urgency down 17 so early, they're not setting into any offense really. They're just running and gunning, trying to find someone open or trying to drive in the paint and get any sort of contact.
Well, sometimes teams work best when there's no set play and they have
play a little backyard basketball.
Just let them play sometimes and they can fight their way back into this game.
Glover at the line for a 1-on-1, too strong off back iron first attempt. Glover has not been a good free throw shooter this year, now just 6 for 18 from the line. That's a mark just above 30%. Stolen away here by Myra Wool, filled a passing lane, trying to go coast to coast. He does, takes some contact along the way, gets the 2 points to fall. 27-12, Akron leads. 8:19 left to play in this first half and counting. Eric Mahaffey with the ball, trying to get it inside, knocked away by Glover. He comes up with it. We did have a whistle. It's going to be a foul against Akron.
And this 1-3-1 zone that Bowling Green has gone to, we saw it last year down the stretch. It helped them fight their way into the MAC tournament, and right now it's helped them fight their way back into this game. They do a great job of getting those arms into passing lanes, and as you saw right there, Troy Glover tipping that ball out from the paint and getting Javon Ruffin, great free throw shooter.
It's the length. You look at the 2 guys that caused the last 2 deflections. Myra Wool is 6'8", Glover's 6'10".
Yeah, and they know how to use their arms.
At the line, Javon Ruffin hits the first. Ruffin, an excellent free throw shooter, coming into the game, 89.7%. Missed just 3 so far this season on now 30 attempts. His second is good, rolls off front iron. 27-14, Bowling Green has cut down what was a 20-point deficit to 13 points. 8:11 left to play in the first half. If you're Bowling Green and Todd Simon, how close do you want to get that deficit to be in a comfortable range going into halftime?
10 points. I think Austin Carr says it best on the Cavs broadcast. Get the lead to 10. Anything's possible after that.
Bona Hardman with the ball. Picks up his dribble. Gives it off to Amani Lyles. Lyles trying to feed Mahaffey down low. Kick back out to Lyles, top of the key. Now inside to Sharon Young. Rejected by Troy Glover the second as he went for a layup. Sam Towns bringing up the court. Tries to kick it over to Campbell. Deflected by Young and taken away from Hardman. Here comes Mahaffey. Mahaffey kicks it cross court to Young. Young guarded by Shackelford, almost steps out of bounds baseline, gives it off to Lyles. Lyles sneaks his way past Glover, puts it up with the right hand and gets it a fall for 2. Back to a 15-point deficit, 29-14. Campbell the other way, teardrop layup, does not fall after hitting back iron twice. Tavari Johnson now with it for the Zips. Thought about pulling up from 3, knocked away by Campbell, scramble for the ball, going to be picked up by Glover. Campbell, excellent defense as Johnson didn't know what to do. Try to get a pass down to Towns. had a Zip defender fly in to deflect it. That was Young. Goes out of bounds. Believe they said it was off Akron. So it will be Bowling Green ball, and it will take us to our second to final media timeout of the first half. 7:10 left to play in this first half at the Stroh Center. Akron 29, Bowling Green 14. You're listening to BGSU men's basketball right here on Falcon Radio. Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com. Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
You are tuned into Falcon Media Sports Network basketball coverage on Falcon Radio.
(29-14), the Akron Zips lead Bowling Green here at the Stroh Center. Tyler Kavlitz alongside Foster Ostei from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Foster, Bowling Green has switched to that 1-3-1 zone on defense. The deficit has gone from 20 to 15. What's been working with that? What do you want to see continue to evolve going forward?
Well, right now they're forcing Akron to take three-point shots. I know they're a very good three-point shooting team, 37.6% from three. But early in this game, they're forcing them to take threes, and they're not letting them get down low and get those alley-oops, those dunks, those easy layups which they have gotten. And they've been collecting the rebounds. They're not getting second-chance opportunities. They're getting out, running, and then getting easy buckets, getting to the free throw line, knocking down their shots, knocking down a three, Javante Campbell knocking that down. But they're just speeding up the tempo on Akron.
It'll be Bowling Green ball, side out to the right of Media Row. Campbell with it now on the logo at midcourt. Campbell, Shackelford, Goins, Towns, Wool, the five on the court for Bowling Green. Myra Wool pulling a deep triple, and he connects. Myra Wool from way downtown. 29-17, the lead down to 12.
And all he needs is a sliver of space to let those shots fly.
Hardman on the other end, a deep triple of his own. All three of Bowen Hardman's three-pointers have been from Toledo. Javante Campbell with it on the other end for Bowling Green. That's swatted away as he goes for a finger roll layup.
And the answer back from threes for both teams. Bowling Green's going to have to stop giving Akron these deep three-point shots. They're going to have to start extending that defense. Even though they're playing that 1-3-1 zone, that top man on that 1-3-1 is going to have to extend just a little bit more, which makes it very hard for Bowling Green to run that 1-3-1.
I'm sure this is great to see for Akron fans. Bowen Hardman had shot just 1 for 8 from deep over the past 2 games, 4 for 16 in his 3 conference games. Starting to heat up here against Bowling Green, 3 for 3 from deep, 9 points for him. Tied for the game lead with Amani Lyles. Sam Towns inside, left a layup short, and he's fighting for it with Zach Halligan. The two of them moved about 15 feet out of the paint, tussling back and forth, trying to get the ball. It'll be called a jump ball, and the possession arrow will face towards the Zips.
Yeah, and on that shot attempt by Sam Towns, just leaving it a little short, getting up, getting his own rebound, but Akron doing a good job of fighting to get that jump ball.
Credit to him, got his own rebound, like you said, against 3 Akron defenders. Just left it too short on that first attempt. Ball kicked out to Hardman here. Hardman guarded by Wool. Gives it off to Evan Mahaffey. Mahaffey driving inside left block. Going to be called for a travel as he tried to spin out, took up his pivot foot, and Bowling Green gets the ball off the miscue by Mahaffey.
Yeah, that's Bowling Green started in that 1-3-1, and as that Akron offense got settled in, they switched out of it into man defense.
Javante Campbell will bring it up the court for Bowling Green. Under 6 minutes to play in the first half. He'll be double teamed as he crosses the timeline. Myra Wool going to get a 3-point shot up, got it to go. Looked like contact. Todd Simon calling for it. Did not get a call. Nonetheless, Wool drained it. His second straight made triple. As it's kicked out to Bowen Hardman, moving to his right, his first missed three-pointer of the day. Still a 12-point deficit, 32-20. Campbell on the other end makes it a 10-point deficit. And with the transition layup, John Gross, not happy, calls a timeout. It's a 10-point game at the Stroh Center after the Falcons faced a 20-point deficit early on. 32-22, the new score with 5:27 to play.
Yeah, and Akron on that Myra Wool 3 was running what looked to be a 2-1-2 zone with one person in the middle to double Javante Campbell on that top. Bowling Green's going to have to take opportunities. They're going to have opportunities for those quick threes, especially Myra Wool, if they're going to double up top, because they'll have one person in the middle. So each side should have an open wingman for a quick three. So
you could see Campbell kind of watching what they were doing and trying to figure out where he could go with it, knowing he was going to be double teamed as he passed the midcourt logo.
Well, absolutely. Because they're running that two, those two are very high on that 2-1-2 zone, and the middle guy is playing right at the free throw line to help down low. So if they're going to continue to extend that 2-1-2, Bowling Green's going to have some good opportunities to get some quick three-point attempts.
This Falcons team has battled their way back. They're on a 5-0 run. Myra Wool's made his past 3 shots. Akron has led for the entire game. It was a 20-point advantage. 9.5 minutes into the contest. 5:27 left to play. That lead has been cut in half to 10 points. 32-22. Shaw Scott with the ball. Gives it off to Sharon Young, right side. Now down low to Mahaffey. Inside to Amani Lyles. Backdoor cut by Lyles. Got past Shackelford. Finished the layup for 2 points. 34-22. Back to a 12-point lead.
And what a great pass that was. Instantly, when he got that ball, that pass was out of his hands.
Campbell with it. Javante Campbell, 6 points here today. Second leading scorer for Bowling Green to Myra Wool, who has 8. Kicks it out to Ruffin. Ruffin inside, spins. Has an opening at the free throw line, left it short. Rebounded by Lyles. Lyles gives it off to Mahaffey. Now over to Shema Scott. Akron almost running the weave drill going up the court. Scott gives it off to Young. Now over to Scott, right wing in front of the Bowling Green bench. Inside on the block to Lyles. Now outside to Hardman. Into the corner. Young wide open. Couldn't connect on the triple. Rattled out off back iron. Wool gives it off to Shackelford. Shackelford guarded by Young. Gives it to Campbell. Campbell at the midcourt logo. Approaching 4 minutes to play in the first half. Campbell still with the ball. Moving around to Ruffin, screen to the right, making his move inside. Double teamed, finds an opening, couldn't get the layup to go. Rebounded by Lyles. For Lyles, 7th rebound of the game. He's got 11 points. Double-double watch here in the first half. Scott passes it off to Lyles. Now top of the key to Young. Left wing to Hardman. Left corner, triple by Mahaffey. Does not fall. Rebounded by Ruffin. Ruffin falls to the ground as he's trying to get a pass off in transition. That did not look great. He's still on the floor. Looks like his leg got tangled up. He'll be helped up. Appears to be okay, and we will hit the under 4 media timeout. Final scheduled stoppage of the first half. 3:35 left to play at the Stroh Center. Akron 34, BG 22. You are listening to Bowling Green State University men's basketball right here on Falcon Radio.
Unlike other local sources, Falcon Media Sports Network and BG Falcon Media will never charge a paywall to view our content. However, if you are looking to support student media, you can donate at the bottom of our stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Interested in joining Falcon Media Sports Network? If you're looking to get involved, send an email to sports@bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
Now back to more Falcon men's basketball action, live on Falcon Radio.
Javon Ruffin at the line for 2 free throws for Bowling Green, actually a 1-and-1. And he leaves it short on the first and only attempts. A scramble for the ball between Shackelford and Mahaffey. And it's a foul on Shackelford. Ruffin, just his 4th missed free throw of the season.
That foul was on Shackelford, his 3rd of the game.
That is notable. Shackelford picked up those 2 early ones. So he will head to the bench, most likely for the rest of this first half. Sam Towns back out onto the floor. Ruffin, the only player in the game with 3 fouls. This is a lob launched up by Scott to Mahaffey. Mahaffey couldn't finish it, tried to go for the layup, and Scott couldn't believe he couldn't put it away.
It was almost an in-between there. He couldn't decide if it was a layup type of alley-oop or just a dunk type alley-oop, and he went with the layup and just couldn't finish it.
Campbell gives it off to Wool. Wool goes for an alley-oop to Troy Glover II, who slams it home with the right hand.
Well, if you want to figure out how to do an alley-oop, right there's your option.
On the other end, Scott launches a triple, and he connects. Shema Scott answers with a 3-pointer. 36-24. 2:45 to play in the first half. Javonte Campbell with the ball, slowing things down in front of the Akron bench. Gives it off to Wool. Meyer Wool moving to his right, launches a 3-pointer, no good, bit too strong, rebounded by Sharon Young. Young gives it off to Scott, left wing. Scott, top of the key to Young. Back to Scott, playing hot potato. He launches a deep triple, rattles out, rebounded by Wool. Wool gives it off to Campbell. Campbell in transition, tries to get a layup off, does not go, but he is fouled. Hopped to second on his left foot, looking down at his right foot, but he appears to be okay. May have just landed a bit awkwardly. He will go to the line for 2 free throws. It'll be number 3 and 4 here today. Just 6 points in this first half. Campbell has scored an impressive 37.5 points per game over the past 2. Misses the first free throw off front iron. Over the past 2 games, that 37.5 points per game has been followed by 6 rebounds and 8.5 assists and a steal per game. He's shot 58.3% from the field and 80% from the line during the last 2 contests. Goes 1 for 2, that trip to the charity stripe. 12-point deficit for Bowling Green, 37-25. 2 minutes left to play in this first half. Bowen Hardman launches another deep triple. Does not go. Almost a foul there on Meyer Wool. closeout territory. NBA, we may have a different call, as he was right in front of Hardman contesting that triple.
Yeah, but this is MAC basketball. It's a little bit tougher down here.
Campbell falls to the ground trying to drive in against Mahaffey on the right side, attempting to get into the paint. Ball dribbles out of bounds. Turnover on Campbell.
They're letting both teams play. Very physical. I mean, I know we talked about just there for a second. That three may have been called a foul, but they're letting them play a very physical brand of basketball here in Bowling Green.
They are. Shamar Scott with the ball. Gives it off to Evan Mahaffey. Now to Young, back to Scott. Scott driving inside, had an open lane before Glover closed it. Back out to Young for a triple, does not fall. Almost rebounded by Marvin Musime Kamali, but goes off of him before, I believe, hitting a Falcon and falling out of bounds. It did hit a Falcon on its way out of bounds, so it'll be inbounded by Shamar Scott. Scott, the reigning MAC sixth man of the year.
We'll get a challenge from head coach Tom Simon over looking at his video crew, who are constantly monitoring those kinds of things. They think there's enough to get it overturned here.
John Gross challenged one earlier in the game in a very similar type of play. He won that challenge. He was very adamant early on. Simon had to take a second to check that one, but did decide to challenge it. Amani Lyles is the game's leading scorer, the only player in double digits with 11. Bowen Hardman has 9 on 3 made three-pointers. For Bowling Green, Myra Wool has 8. Javante Campbell has 7. Glover not too far behind with 6 and 5 rebounds. Lyles is also close to a double-double as it stands right now with his 11 points and 7 rebounds. As a team, Akron shooting 45.5% from the field, 35% from beyond the arc. Bowling Green 33% from the floor, 30% on three-pointers. Just 9 free throws attempted, 8 of those for Bowling Green. They haven't fully capitalized on that. They've only made 4 of those 8 attempts. Lengthy review going on. Officials still looking at it at the scores table. We're getting a replay up here on the big screen. See anything notable on there, Foster?
There's 3 Falcons in the area. This seems extremely hard to see unless there's a redirect off the hip there, and they will. It'll say it's off the hip. It'll be Bowling Green ball.
They saw enough. Give the possession to Bowling Green. Good challenge by Todd Simon. Both coaches successful in their challenges in this first half.
Both teams still have their challenge now since they both won them.
Can hear John Gross barking orders through the headset up on the concourse.
Almost looks like they're in a 1-3-1 zone of their own.
I believe it looks like they may be as they're double teaming Campbell top of the key now. That one deflected by Shamar Scott, went off his leg.
Quick reversals here for Bowling Green. We've seen Akron do it a couple times. In a 1-3-1 zone, you have a very good chance of getting quick reversals.
Ruffin tried to get a pass there, was knocked away. Campbell ended up stealing it away on the other end. Campbell now driving inside. His layup does not go through contact. Glover there to rebound it. His layup spins out. Towns now rebounds it. He puts it in. If it doesn't work once, try it again. If it doesn't work twice, try it a third time, and it may very well go.
Absolutely, and great to have 3 Falcons down there trying for those offensive rebounds.
37-27, 10-point deficit. You wanted the Falcons to be within 10 at the end of the half. Bowen Hardman trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Drains a triple from the near side corner. Out to a 13-point lead for Akron, 40-27. We are under 45 minutes to play in the half.
Yeah, and you can't lose Hardman if you're Bowling Green on that defensive end.
Towns with it, working near the low block, kicks it out to Wool. Wool driving inside out to Ruffin, far side corner. Ruffin top of the key to Campbell. Campbell, 5 on the shot clock, 24 on the game clock. Moving inside, step back, he's gonna have the pull, triple. Too short, off front iron, didn't get a good roll. Rebounded by Musime Kamali. 10 seconds left on the game clock, shot clock is off. Akron leads by 13, 40-27. Scott with the ball, down to 3 on the clock, launches a deep triple and he drains it right before the buzzer goes. Akron will hit into halftime with a 16-point advantage after back-to-back triples within the final minute to balloon the lead once again, 43-27. The score as both teams head to their respective locker rooms.
Yeah, and for Bowling Green, they have got to figure out on this defensive end, how are they going to defend the three? Because as we see in Akron, they are very good in this 1-3-1 zone of finding the open spots and knocking down the three. So Bowling Green in this halftime on the defensive end, they got to find how they're going to communicate to keep them off the three-point, behind the three-point arc. And then on the offensive end, they have taken too much time, in my opinion, on getting their offense set up and run. They're letting the clock run. They're letting it get down to 15 seconds. And this Akron defense is very good, especially when they're set. Bowling Green's got to get out and get running a little bit quicker in this second half.
Akron ends the half on a 6-0 run over the final minute. They lead it at halftime 43-27. We will take a quick break, and then Holden Ruck will lead us through our halftime show from the Falcon Radio studio. Once again, Akron 43, Bowling Green 27 at the break. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcasts on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
The Zig Zone, Falcon Media Sports Network's weekly radio show dedicated to BGSU athletics, has a new segment. Make sure to tune into the show every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. to listen to the one-on-one segment, where Holden Ruck will interview a key figure in BGSU athletics.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Looking for a BG Athletics discussion show? Check out The Swoop, where a rotating cast of Falcon Media Sports Network co-hosts talk everything BGSU athletics. New episodes are available every Tuesday at 6 p.m. on the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel.
Did you know Falcon Media Sports Network has video highlights of BGSU athletic events? To see all the moments from your favorite BGSU teams and athletes, head over to the BG Falcon Media YouTube channel or view them on bgfalconmedia.com.
Bowling Green Gymnastics hosts the Eastern Michigan Eagles for a dual meet at the Stroh Center on Sunday, January 11th, starting at 2 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network will have coverage following the conclusion of the meet, available on bgfalconmedia.com.
Interested in joining Falcon Media Sports Network? If you're looking to get involved, send an email to sports@bgfalconmedia.com.
a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network, you can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Falcon Media Sports Network produces weekly short-form and long-form social media pieces for in-season sports all year long. Make sure to check out at BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and at BG Falcon Media on Instagram and Facebook to view the content.
This is Phil Beskid, BGSU Radio Faculty Advisor. You can catch all the Falcon Media Sports Network broadcasts on our two stations, WBGU 88.1 FM and Falcon Radio, which can both be found on bgfalconmedia.com. Ziggy.
BGSU graduate Jason Jackson from the Miami Heat here. Make sure to tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM, home of the Falcon Media Sports Network.
Here in the Coolin Center studio for your halftime report from the Falcon Media Sports Network, as Akron currently leads Bowling Green in the Stroh Center 43-27. I'm Holden Ruck, your board operator in Falcon Radio for today's broadcast. You're going to hear from Tyler Kavlitz and Foster Rosti in the Stroh Center again soon. But first, I'm going to take you through the MAC. The only action going on today, besides Akron and Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio took care of business, staying perfect on the season, beating Toledo 87-73, staying 17-0 now for the year, 5-0 in the Mid-American Conference. Meanwhile, Akron and Bowling Green. Akron does lead 43-27 at the half. The teams entering tonight 6th overall and 7th overall, respectively, in the Mid-American Conference. Akron with a 2-1 conference record, Bowling Green with a 2-2 record, but that record not necessarily reflective of either of these teams, as they're both 11-win teams entering tonight. So clearly, strong teams contending across their schedule of non-conference play, meeting up today. Bowling Green finding themselves in a little bit of a hole right now, one of the bigger holes they've been in this season for sure. Leading scorer for the Zips right now, Bowen Hardman currently has 12. He leads all scorers in the game, whereas Meyer Wall for the Falcons is currently 8. No Falcons in double figures so far. Looking at the comparison between the two teams, Akron's out-rebounding 23 versus 19 for the Falcons, so not a huge discrepancy there. And the teams also equal in turnovers for this game, both teams with 8 turnovers so far. So now that we've gone through a couple of stats, you got a little bit of context, we're going to ask a few questions here with Foster and Tyler in the Stroh Center. So first of all, Foster and Tyler, what's the biggest thing you need to see in the second half from the Falcons if they're going to have a chance in this game?
Well, I think they need to prevent Akron from jumping out and attacking them immediately. They need to figure out a way to not be playing from behind right away. Yes, they're down by 16, but they need to kind of view it as a 0-0 game here in the second half. They need to win the second half regardless if they're going to win the game, so why not view it as 0-0? If they can play like that from the start and maybe go on a 6-0, 8-0 run of their own, a flash run like that, they can get themselves back into this game. But if they go down on a 4-0 run to start the second half again, and you're looking at another 20-point deficit, it's going to be real hard for this team to overcome that.
Yeah, and for me, I think that defense for Bowling Green has to figure out how to slow down the three-point shooting of Akron. Akron right now shooting 41% from three in the first half of play alone. What Bowling Green has to do is figure out how they're going to stop Hardman, how they're going to stop these shooters for Akron, because when Akron gets these shooters warmed up, and right now they're going into halftime very warm, they are going to have a great finish to this game.
And Foster, to your point, defensively, the Falcons probably the place where they need to catch up the most. The largest lead of the game for the Zips, a 27-7 margin, 20-point lead for the Zips. And the Falcons, not yet in this game have they held a lead. They've been trailing the entire time. So who do you think on the Falcons has the most pressure on their shoulders to really perform at their best in the second half if they're going to have a chance?
I'd have to give it to Javante Campbell, the leader of this team, the captain of the Falcons. He's had great games back-to-back at UMass and at Kent State. He's only got 7 points right now, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I'd like to see him pick it up more on the offensive side, get some more shots up, and get it started.
I would look to Josiah Shackelford. Shackelford's scoreless right now. Yes, you want something out of Campbell, but Campbell's played – it's got to be the last 100-plus minutes straight. He has not had a break in this recent run of games. Shackelford, the past 4 games coming into today, was averaging 14.5 points per game, shooting 65% from the field, 50% from deep. So far today against Akron, he's played just 7.5 minutes, 0 for 2 from the floor, missed his only 3-pointer, does not have a point, has 3 fouls. Todd Simon's going to have to take a gamble and put him out there on the floor. Yes, you risk him fouling out, but you need some scoring to go along with Campbell because you don't have it right now with how Justin Thomas is. He only played 2 minutes. Obviously, he's not fully healthy. Javon Ruffin played 13 minutes, but he doesn't look fully there. He looks maybe 80%. Obviously, Justin Thomas is not fully there health-wise. So you're going to need someone like Shackelford to step up. It just kind of sucks that he has 3 fouls already, but he's going to need to take a gamble and leave him on the floor there for a few minutes.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. I do worry about those 3 fouls. He picked up 2 in the first 5 minutes of the game, and he can pick those 2 up very quickly, especially the way they're attacking this 1-3-1 zone. And when they start to get down low and the Falcons collapse, he's gotten 2 quick fouls down there. So I do worry about him, but he is an integral part of this Falcons offense. And if they can get him knocking down a couple threes, this can be a very different ballgame.
Yeah, you've got the certified star in Javante Campbell, but it does often beg the question if another guy can step up in those critical moments, take some of the pressure off of Campbell for sure. Last question I've got for you two. Akron, front running pretty hard right now. If Akron's able to hold on and finish this game, what will have impressed you most, or who or what is the reason why?
Which team would have impressed us most out of the recent stretch, you're asking?
No. For Akron, if they're able to hold on, what has impressed you the most about them, or what will be the reason why they win if they do?
I think it is really that this team is the same sort of John Gross team that we've seen for 5 years straight at this point. And no matter what pieces they lose, whether it's Enrique Freeman or Nate Johnson, you lose Enrique to the NBA draft, you lose Nate Johnson to Kansas State, somehow John Gross has found a way to fill these spots with just as good of players, it feels like, and the core players are still there. Tavari Johnson's an absolute problem, but all of the supporting cast fits in the mold of this Akron system, and it is just a well-oiled machine of a program that runs the same exact way every single year. Their defense is never amazing. It's always good enough, but their offense is as good as ever right now.
Well, and I think one of the big things with them having just such great players that they bring in transfers from the high major level.
Yeah.
Hardman, an Ohio State transfer from 2 seasons ago. Evan Mahaffey, Ohio State transfer.
Sharon Young, West Virginia.
Shamat Scott, Wichita State. They bring in these transfers that play at the Power 5 level, and they have seen a lot. I mean, Ohio State, you have to go up against Purdue, Oregon now in the Big Ten. Some very good basketball schools. Wichita State, that's always going to be a good basketball school. You're going to see a lot of great players. When they come to Akron, they know how to play basketball at a high level, and they're able to bring that type of mentality to these Akron Zip teams and really spread it to the rest of the team.
Yeah, looking across the board statistically in that first half, very reflective of what you're saying, the standard and culture for this program, being very well maintained from season to season, and a clear reason why they're heavily out front right now in this one. that's going to wrap up the questions I've got for our two broadcasters in the Stroh Center today. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Tyler and Foster will have the second half for you here on Falcon Radio.
Falcon Media Sports Network now has a pregame, halftime, and postgame show for every BGSU men's and women's basketball broadcast, starting 25 minutes before each game. Make sure to tune in to hear insights and knowledge from Falcon Media Sports Network analysts. You can listen to every broadcast on WBGU 88.1 FM or Falcon Radio, also streaming on bgfalconmedia.com.
Interested in joining Falcon Media Sports Network? If you're looking to get involved, send an email to sports@bgfalconmedia.com.
Even when the game ends, Falcon Media Sports Network's coverage continues with a recap on bgfalconmedia.com.
Moments away from the start of the second half here at the Bill Frack Court at the Stroh Center. Bill Frack Game and Alumni Day here at BGSU. Falcons trailing the Zips by 16 points coming out of the half, 43-27. Great job by our Holden Ruck during that halftime show. Don't have our usual cast of characters in there to be able to run a normal studio show, so Holden doing a great job helping us along throughout this broadcast. He's also been one of our key guys back there in the studio quite often during this winter break, as he is local to the area along with you, Foster. So great job to you guys continuing to keep up the coverage during this winter break when all the students are back home. We are back underway. Javante Campbell has the ball. Falcons going right to left. Akron will be going left to right across your radio dials. Smartphones, computers, speakers, whatever you're listening to this game on. Troy Glover the second gives it off to Meyer Wool, and he launches a deep triple and drains it in front of the Bowling Green bench. 13-point deficit, 43-30 as we begin second half action.
And it should be noted, Josiah Shackelford not in the second half starting lineup. Javon Ruffin slotting in for him.
It is Campbell, Glover, Towns, Wool, and Ruffin. Johnson had to pick up his dribble, was trying to look for a straightaway triple. Young gets it, almost throws it away, trying to get the ball across court to Johnson. Johnson, far side wing, launches it over Towns, does not fall. Wall with the rebound. Wall now pushing it in transition. Thought about a pull-up triple. Now working his way inside. Off the glass, Myra Wall, 5 straight points to begin the second half. And just like that, it's an 11-point deficit, 43-32.
Myra Wall getting it going from behind the arc and getting a rebound and running out there. Getting the offense himself.
Amani Lyles spins inside the paint around Glover, finishes off the layup with his left hand on the right side of the rim. Nifty post move by Lyles. Lyles up to 13 points, tied with Wall for the game lead. Lyles has also added 7 rebounds. Glover with it just inside the three-point arc. Picks up his dribble, gives it off the Wall. Wall, deep triple, right wing. Did not go off front iron. Rebounded by Wall, and he puts it in. Misses his own triple, comes and grabs the rebound, puts it in for 2 points. 7 straight for Myra Wall to begin the second half.
Well, you could almost see it when he shot it, that he knew that was going to go off, and he got right down into the paint where that ball was going to be.
Bowling Green needed someone like Wall to launch like a firecracker to begin the second half, and he's done just that. Up to a game-leading 15 points. Zach Halligan with the ball, gives it off to Mahaffey. Now to Lyles, low block, double-teamed by Townsend Campbell. Campbell going to be called with a reach-in foul. Javante Campbell today has 2 steals, up to 55 steals on the season. Right now he's on pace for 102 steals in the regular season, which would fall one shy of Bonzi Wells' regular season MAC record. It would obliterate his BG record of 90 that he set last year. Pass inside to Lyles, waits for Towns to fly by, and then goes up strong for 2. He's up to 15 points. 47-34 Akron, 17 and a half to play. Campbell working inside, left-handed layup, does not go, hits backboard, no rim. Glover tried for the rebound, couldn't get it. Tavari Johnson with it. Johnson guarded by Wool, works around a Lyles screen, top of the key, picks up his dribble, swings it over to Zach Halligan, right wing. Now it finds the hands of Mahaffey. He picks up his dribble just inside the free throw line. Crowd want to travel. Refs don't call it. Johnson with the ball, far side wing, under 10 on the shot clock. Johnson moving to his left, picked up by Glover. Mismatch, Campbell doubles. Inside to Halligan. Glover there, standing straight up, forces a miss. Campbell trying to take it the other way, working hard against Young. Young forces it out. No foul called. Turnover by Campbell. Three-pointer launched by Johnson on the other end, does not fall. Players fighting for the rebound. Wool was in there. We have a whistle.
I believe that foul will be on number 21, Halligan, on the rebound.
They are showing Mahaffey on the stats. So for now, it's on Evan Mahaffey. That would be his second. Javante Campbell with the ball, trying to work inside. Bounce pass to Sam Towns. Towns couldn't finish it off, too strong in the layup attempt. Tavari Johnson with it, moving to his right. Stutter step, drives inside, trying to kick it to the corner. Ruffin clogs the passing lane at baseline, knocks it out of bounds. It'll stay Akron ball, and here comes Josiah Shackelford with 3 personal fouls. He will check into the game for Sam Towns.
The Falcons going a little bit small, taking Towns out of the game and putting Shackelford in his stead.
Lyles gets it off the inbound, working on Campbell. Mismatch, really powering his way. That's going to be an offensive foul. Put his shoulder into Campbell 3 straight times. Knocked Campbell to the ground with his shoulder the final time. Campbell's feet were set. He was outside the restricted zone. Draws a clear and obvious charging foul on an ultra-aggressive Amani Lyles.
And that'll be Lyles' 3rd foul
That's
of this
big.
game. That is big. Getting the leading scorer for this Akron team out of the game early in the second half.
And the leading rebounder. He has 8 rebounds to go along with his 15 points. Missed just 1 shot from the field, 7 for 8. Myra Wool inside. His floater does not fall. Ruffin's putback does not fall. Brought up the court by Mahaffey. Evan Mahaffey gives it off to his brother, Eric Mahaffey. First time we've seen them working together here tonight. 3-point attempts by Scott, no good. Thrown back in by Musimi Kalami. And we're going to have a turnover by Akron.
The younger brother, Eric Mahaffey, will be charged that turnover.
He will be indeed, and that will take us to the first media timeout of the second half. Akron leads Bowling Green by 13 points, 47-34. You're listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. For all BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter X at BG_FMSN and head over to BGFalconMedia.com. Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU student media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on BGFalconMedia.com.
You are listening to Falcon basketball coverage from the Falcon Media Sports Network live on Falcon Radio.
Still a 13-point lead for Akron with 15:46 to play against BGSU men's basketball at the Stroh Center. First men's basketball game of the new year here on the Bill Frack Court. 47-34 the score, the Zips leading. Tyler Kavlitz alongside Foster Rostein from the Falcon Media Sports Network. This is not the only content we will have for today's game, this broadcast. Dawson Pelter is writing a recap. You, Foster, will have a sidebar or two after the game. Henry Costco will have a highlight video for us. You can find all of that content and more on bgfalconmedia.com. 15:46 left to play, still plenty of time. What adjustments would you like to see BGSU make coming out of this media timeout?
Well, in this timeout, Bowling Greens has missed a couple of easy gimme layups and jumpers down in the paint. I'd like to see them start hitting those at a little bit higher level. As they start to hit those higher, the defense will start to collapse on them, and that gives Myar Wool, who has 15 points for the Falcons, a chance to continue to light it up from behind the arc.
It'll be quite a challenge to come back against this Akron team. Akron this year, when they lead at the half, are 10-1. When they lead with 10 minutes remaining, they are undefeated at 10-0.
Yeah, those do not bode well for the Falcons, but there's a lot of basketball left to play, and anything is possible.
Shavonte Campbell bringing up the court, guarded by Evan Mahaffey. Working to his left, double team, kicks it up to Shackelford. Shackelford picks it up, guarded by Johnson, gives it off the Wool. Wool driving inside in the paint, spins around, fadeaway Jay just in front of the free throw line. That goes. 47-36, 11-point deficit.
Sometimes you just have to feed the hot hand, and Myar Wool is that for the Falcons right now.
Shamal Scott gives off to Davari Johnson. Scott now moves to his right, top of the key. Scott surveying, guarded by Troy Glover. Mismatch picked up by Shackelford now. Glover knocks it out of bounds as Scott was trying to pass it inside to Evan Mahaffey. Glover, once Shackelford picked him up, went back into the paint, used his 6'10" length to knock it away.
And that's just a good pass there by Akron. That's what you want to see for them. A slip as the big gets out of the paint.
Inbound to Eric Mahaffey. His spin around jumper off glass does not fall. Shackelford with the rebound, pushes the pace the other way. Gives it off to Wool. Wool driving inside. Right-handed floater. That goes. And one opportunity incoming for Wool.
Myar Wool slotted into this starting lineup with Justin Thomas's injury. Has started to figure it out here for the Falcons.
Myar Wool has 11 points so far in this second half through the first 5 minutes and change. Make it 12 as he finishes the three-point play the old-fashioned way at the line. 47-39, 8-point deficit now for Bowling Green.
Amani Lyles subbing back into the game. 3 personal fouls. Watch for Bowling Green to take it at him, try to get him out of this game again.
5-0 run for the Falcons over the past 3 minutes. Tavari Johnson with it, driving inside, blows by Glover, has nowhere to go once he hits baseline, passes it off to Scott. Now Lyles, top of the key, three-pointer, offline to the left, picked up by Shackelford. He'll push the pace the other way, almost loses it, regains control, gives it off to Campbell. Campbell driving inside, kicks it out. Here's a three-pointer that is drilled by Myar Wool. He is unconscious in the Stroh Center. 15 second-half points for Wool. And the Falcons have cut what once was a 20-point deficit down to 5 with 14:21 to play. Timeout Akron.
And a quick timeout there by head coach John Gross as Myar Wool knocking down another 3. Part of that is down low, Troy Glover has a mismatch, and as the 2 defenders close out to Campbell, that leaves that backside where Myar Wool was set up perfectly for an open 3. He was wide open and knocks out his 4th 3 of the game.
Myar Wool today, 23 points, 9 for 12 from the field, 4 for 6 from deep. Already it is a season high in points for the Eastern Kentucky transfer, surpassing his 21 that he had against UMass, and he is just 1 3-pointer away from tying his season high in that category. He has been on an absolute roll. 16.5 points over the past 2 games, shooting 46% from deep. He's 7th in the MAC in three-point percentage, and he has taken it to a new level here tonight.
Well, we always know Myar Wool could do this, especially that first game against Texas State where he had his perfect game from the field. This is what he can do when he really starts to get warmed up with this Falcons offense. He can start to score at such a high level that it will start to open up a lot of different things. All the eyes now on that defense for Akron will be on where is Mayar Wool at. And so as Mayar moves around the court, those eyes will track him. Everyone knows that he's shooting great right now. That will open up opportunities, backdoor cuts, defenders sliding over to help, an extra pass over for a 3. This can open up this basketball game for Bowling Green in a great way. You can start getting players down low because they won't be sagging off Mayar Wool. They want to shut him off right now. That's going to let Glover, Campbell, Shackelford, everybody get down low, get some layups.
Well, and Wool, as we've mentioned numerous times throughout broadcasts this year, was the Atlantic Sun Conference 6th Man of the Year last season. He spent, I shouldn't say started, that's a little misleading, spent the first 14 games of the season coming off the bench. Now the past 3 he has started. In the past 3 is where he's found a ton of success, getting higher volume. That may be the answer for Todd Simon. Yes, he was a great bench player at Eastern Kentucky, but he has found a great role being in the starting 5 here for BG.
And sometimes that's all it needs for a player like Mayar Wool, is just to get that sliver of opportunity in the starting lineup and really show this is what I can do. Now with Javon Ruffin coming back, Justin Thomas still being on a minutes restriction because of his injury, now Todd Simon has a very tough choice. Where does Mayar Wool go in this offense?
Tavari Johnson will bring the ball up the floor for Akron as we have an immediate foul by Wool against Derek Mahaffey. John Gross barking orders once again.
A very quick foul on that Mahaffey foul in Wool.
Inbound goes to Johnson, almost lost it past the timeline. But he maintains control, gives it off to Mahaffey. Mahaffey to Johnson, top of the key. Johnson guarded by Shackelford. Moves to his right, gives it to Mahaffey. His triple goes. Eric Mahaffey drains it. Across from the Akron bench is an 8-point lead for Akron, 50-42, 13:45 to play. Campbell moves to his left, now back to his right, still beyond the arc. Campbell surveying, gives it off to Wool, right wing. Wool driving inside, teardropper layup off bank, and the bank is open for Mayar Wool.
And that's what we talked about there. Defensive closing out on his three-point ability and letting him get down low.
25 points for Mayar Wool on 10 for 13 shooting. 6-point deficit for BG, 50-44. Bowen Hardman from way downtown, too strong. Launched that one from the near side wing. Javon Ruffin picks it up, blazes down the other end, throws it away. Going too fast, tried to reverse and throw it behind him to Mayar Wool. Threw it too far away from Wool and went into the front row seats.
And you can see head coach Tom Simon over there to slow down the offense just a little bit there.
And that's one where he didn't need to rush. All 5 Akron defenders were already back. He was not going to get a fast break opportunity. Just tried to go a little too fast. Tavari Johnson with it in his hands once again. Johnson top of the key, moves to his right, picks up his dribble, gives it off to Scott. Scott now to his left. Scott drives inside, behind the back, made Mayar Wool go to the ground. His step back is no good. Bowen Hardman resets to Scott. Had a mismatch on Glover, gave it away. Now to Hardman left wing, back to Scott top of the key, 10 on the shot clock. Scott gives it off to Johnson. Tavari Johnson guarded by Glover, gives it off down low. It's going to be a blocking foul against Ruffin as Lyles drilled his shoulder into the guard. For Ruffin, that'll be his second personal, and it'll send Lyles to the line.
And that's just an unfortunate foul for Ruffin. Had such a hard time down low guarding him for the first, before that offensive rebound, 20 seconds of offense, keeping him out of the offense. But on that second one, getting caught down low.
You know what I found interesting there, Foster? None of the Akron guards decided to attack when they had a matchup with Troy Glover.
Troy Glover has been a great perimeter defender at 6'10". Even if they get a step on him being 6'10", very easy can get back and block a shot regardless.
Lyles goes 2 for 2 from the line. Up to 17 points. Akron's leading scorer. 52-44. 8-point lead. Approaching 12 minutes to play. Campbell hands it off to Ruffin, back to Campbell, now swung over to Wohl. Wohl's going to launch it from deep, too strong, rebounded by Glover. Glover resets out to Ruffin. Ruffin pulls, no good, rebounded by Mahaffey. Falcons had 2 clean looks, couldn't hit either.
Very clean looks for the Bowling Green Falcons.
Mahaffey gives it off to the other Mahaffey. Eric to Evan. Evan kicks it out to Scott. Scott back to Evan Mahaffey. Evan Mahaffey to Eric Mahaffey down low. He spins out, gives it off to Scott, now to the corner to Hardman. Hardman driving inside, swatted away.
And give Myra Wohl the block there.
Ruffin takes it the other way. Campbell tried to go up for a lob to Wohl. Couldn't get it all the way there, blocked away. Now here comes Scott the other way. Acrobatic layup does not go, but there is a foul. And it was Wohl who had the block. Wohl and Glover both went up. But Akron will be going to the line when we get back from the media timeout. 11:26 left to play in the contest. Akron leads 52-44 over Bowling Green. You are listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio. Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM. Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU Student Media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
This is Falcon men's basketball coverage live on Falcon Radio. For Falcons, by Falcons.
(52-44), Akron's lead over Bowling Green. 11:26 left to play. Approaching crunch time ever so quickly here at the Stroh Center, as the Zips looking to fend off Bowling Green. Falcons looking to come back from a deficit that was once 20 points. Some key numbers to pay attention to as we get towards the end of this game. I had mentioned Akron is 10-0, leading with 10 minutes remaining. They are 11-1, leading with 5 minutes remaining. Bowling Green is 1-4, trailing with 5 minutes remaining.
Not something you like if you're a Falcons fan, but Bowling Green in this second half, 17 points to Akron's 9. They've been doing a good job of finding the open player, and Myra Wohl especially has been doing a good job of keeping this Falcons team in the game.
Shamar Scott at the line, misses the first, spins out. 68.2% from the charity stripe this season for the Cleveland native. He makes the second, goes 1 for 2. 53-44, lead back up to 9. Bowling Green has outscored Akron 17-10 in this second half. They were outscored 43-27 in the first half. Javante Campbell inside, forces a way in for a layup. That goes for 2. Deficit back down to 7, 53-46. Campbell knocking on the door of double digits, 9 points. Also has 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Shamar Scott inside to Mahaffey. He kicks it out to Hardman, to Young, back to Scott. Scott guarded by Towns. Bit of a mismatch. Works inside. Fadeaway jumper just outside the paint. No good. Rebounded by Evan Mahaffey. Glover hits the floor. Hardman launches from deep. Drains the triple.
And there was 3 Akron Zips down there fighting for that offensive rebound.
10-point lead. Back to double digits. 56-46 for the Zips. Campbell with it now for Bowling Green. Slowing the offense down. Gives it off to Wool. Wool, baseline fadeaway jumper, pure. Tough shot for Wool, doesn't matter. Unconscious right now, 11 for 15, 27 points.
And they got to keep figuring out ways to get him the ball in places he likes to go.
Shamar Scott trying to throw it inside, stolen away from Campbell, his 3rd of the game. Campbell kicks it out, Shackelford, clean look, no good, too short. Campbell gets the offensive rebound. Wide open for a triple. Javante too short off front iron. No one within 10 feet of Campbell on that attempt. Couldn't finish it off.
And that's just unfortunate for Bowling Green with a wide open attempt.
Young wide open pass to Eric Mahaffey. Slid in the back door. 2 points for him, 58-48. Akron leads by 10 once again. Campbell going up for a layup. Does not fall, but he is fouled. He will go to the line for 2 free throws.
And on that Mahaffey dunk, Bowling Green just seemed to have fallen asleep on the defensive end. 3 players standing, not really knowing where they're supposed to be, and allowing Mahaffey to cut back door and easily dunk it home.
And back to that Campbell 3-point attempts. On the season, he's just 8 for 33. But that is one of those attempts when you are wide open. That's a practice 3. That's one that you expect, even though Campbell's only shooting about 20% on the season. As good of a player as he is, you expect him to make those.
You're absolutely right. And Campbell we've seen him knock down those types of threes before, and just this time not falling can be a big deal for the Falcons.
Momentum swing as well.
Especially off an offensive rebound.
Bowling Green's gone quiet from deep, just 1 for 6 in their last 6 attempts from beyond the arc. Campbell goes 1 for 2 from the line, 58-49. Akron leading, approaching 9 minutes to play.
Bowling Green gone a little bit small here.
Zach Halligan gives it off to Young, who blows by Wool, and he is going to be fouled. We'll see who they give it to.
They'll give it to Wool, I believe.
But you did mention Bowling Green is going smaller now. You have Ruffin, Campbell, Wool, Towns, and Shackelford. So the tallest player on the floor is Towns at 6'9".
And Bowling Green likes to run this small ball kind of offense, allowing Campbell to get down low, and Sam Towns, Ruffin, Wool, and Shackelford all to stand behind the 3-point arc.
Won't be free throws for Akron. It'll be a baseline inbound to the right of the hoop. Gives it to Halligan. He gives it off to Hardman. The Ohio State transfer hands it off to Lyles. Now cross court to Young. Sharon Young working on Towns. Gives it off to Lyles. Lyles swings it to Hardman. 3-point attempt, no good. Lyles and Towns go to the floor. No, Lyles and Ruffin go to the floor.
And they're going to give the foul to Ruffin.
Looked from up here that Lyles just fell down on Ruffin. Ruffin's still on the floor. He's taking a very long time to get up. He appears to be okay, and they will give the foul to Ruffin. Glover will come in for Wool. So there's your leading scorer off the floor for more size and defense in Glover. Maybe a chance to give Wool a bit of a rest before you bring him on for one more run.
Yeah, those final 5 minutes is going to be all Wool, all game to close it out.
Hardman open look, top of the key. Bowling Green's lucky, couldn't finish that one off, but there's another foul on the floor as Lyles collected the rebound. Shackelford flew in from behind. They're going to give Ruffin the foul. Second straight foul on Ruffin. He'll stay in the game. That'll be his 3rd.
Yeah, and Ruffin quickly getting fouls, looking for an explanation of what he has to do down low as he's guarding Lyles, one of the better bigs on this Akron team.
I think he's arguing that he's getting an elbow up to his face every single time he tries to do something, hence why he's getting so physical. Lyles, a 1-on-1, hits the first. Nearly an 80% free throw shooter. 7th in the MAC in field goal percentage, 59.9% coming into today's game. 8th in the MAC in rebounds per game at 6.7, and a surprisingly good three-point shooter, 10th in the MAC in that category, 42%. Misses the second, rebounded by Campbell. Campbell passes it off to Towns, who almost lost it. Recollects it. Guarded by Tavari Johnson, now double team. Throws up a shot off the backboard, falls, and contact. He'll go to the line for a chance at a three-point play.
And that foul is going to be on Lyles. That'll be his 4th of the game. They're going to get a quick sub for him. Evan Mahaffey coming in, taking out the leading scorer for the Zips and their leading rebounder.
And that's also huge because he's the only big player they play in a ton of minutes. You also have Marvin Musime Kamali, who's 6'8". We don't see much of him. Outside of Lyles, who's 6'9", the tallest player is 6'6" in the rotation for Akron. Towns converts the three-point play, 8-point deficit, 59. Scoreboard took a second update. 7-point deficit, 59-52.
And with Akron now at the small ball lineup, if you're Bowling Green, you cannot allow them any second chance opportunities.
That is a very good point. Falcons with size, Glover and Towns down low. Tavari Johnson with the ball, gives it off to Shema Scott. Scott guarded by Glover, out by the arc to Hardman. They were going to double team Hardman. Instead, they get the ball to Mahaffey, spins around from Ruffin, wide open look at the free throw line. Knocks down the jumper, 61-52, 9-point lead for the Zips. Under 8 minutes to play. Next stoppage will bring us to a media timeout. Campbell guarded by Hardman, trying to work to his right. Hardman playing good defense. Gives it off to Towns, left wing. Now to Shackelford. Shackelford picks it up, gives it off to Towns in the corner. Towns moving around. It's going to be a defensive foul on Akron. It will go against Tavari Johnson. That will be his 3rd, and that'll bring us to a media timeout. 7:29 left to play in the Stroh Center. Akron leads by 9. Zips 61, Falcons 52. You are listening to BGSU Men's Basketball on Falcon Radio.
Hey, BGSU graduate Jason Jackson from the Miami Heat here. When I was a Falcon, there was BGRSO. Now it's Falcon Media Sports Network. Keep up with all BGSU sports news and action by following BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and check out BGFalconMedia.com. Hi, Ziggy.
Interested in joining Falcon Media Sports Network? If you're looking to get involved, send an email to sports@bgfalconmedia.com.
Check out bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps, photos, videos, and more of the Falcons.
(61-52). Akron leads Bowling Green. Under 8 minutes to play, 7:29 left at the Stroh Center. Tyler Kavlitz alongside Foster Rostein from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Foster, Bowling Green within striking range. What do they need to do to really make this one close down the stretch?
Well, the first thing they got to do is figure it out on the defensive end. Akron has gotten a couple easy shots these last couple times. Not all of them have fell, but they've gotten good shots down low, and Bowling Green has fouled them, so every foul now sends them to the free throw line for a one-on-one opportunity. On the offensive end, we saw Meyer Wool subbing into the game as we go to that media timeout. Get Meyer Wool the ball. He has been the workhorse on the offensive end, and if they're going to leave him open behind the three-point line, he's going to be able to get a couple more 3 shots up and knock him down.
On the floor for Bowling Green will be Campbell, Towns, Ruffin, Wall, and Shackelford. Campbell has not subbed out for at least the 3rd straight game that I can remember. There's going to be a Shackelford miss right after the inbound. Going to be rebounded by Scott. Shackelford trying to go through contact and a mid-range jumper, couldn't find it. You would assume that Akron's going to try to drain this clock and look for a good shot as much as they can. Scott tried for the step-back triple, didn't have a look, bobbled the ball, but it ends up finding the hands of Tavari Johnson in the corner. He drains the three-pointer. Haven't said his name much. That's his first points of the game for the Mac's leading scorer. 1 for 6 from the field, 1 for 5 from deep, but it's a huge one in terms of the game. 12-point lead now for Akron, 64-52. Myra Wool answers with another mid-range jumper from the baseline in front of the Bowling Green bench. 10-point game, 64-54, 6.5 to play. Deep three-pointer by Shama Scott, no good. Rebounded by Shackelford, who skied up to grab it. Gives it off to Wool. Wool spins inside the paint. Left-handed finger roll, no good. Fights for his own rebound. Kicked out to Ruffin, couldn't contain it. Bowen Hardman brings it down. Gives it off to Tavari Johnson. Johnson, 20.7 points per game. Just 3 here today. With the ball, guarded by Sam Towns. Mismatch. Fadeaway jumper just outside the paint. Does not fall. Hits the rim a few times before it's rebounded by Ruffin. Ruffin gives it off the wall. Deep three. It goes. Myra Wool, another big shot for Bowling Green. Single-handedly keeping the Falcons in the contest. 64-57. 7-point game. 5.5 to play at the Stroh Center.
Myra Wool, every opportunity he has gotten, he has done a great job of finding a good open shot for himself.
Shama Scott guarded by Towns. Step back triple, no good. Off backboard, missed rim. Overshot it. Campbell gives it off to Shackelford. In transition, Shackelford speeds to the rim. Puts in the layup. It's a 5-point game. 64-59, 5:08 to play. John Gross calls a timeout.
Bowling Green, out of this timeout, is going to have to be almost perfect on the defensive end. You're going to see Gross draw up one of his best plays for this team. The best scoring play, a long drawn-out hitter for this team. 5 minutes left to play, 5:08 if you want to get technical. With 30 seconds on the shot clock, you're going to have to guard for 25 seconds because this Akron team is not going to take an early shot. They're going to protect this 5-point lead.
Well, they need to figure out a way to score, first of all. Minute 52 scoreless. Have not said that often during this game for Akron. This is really the first time today that this Akron offense has completely stalled out. Bowling Green, to their credit, has taken advantage of it. A 7-0 run, led by Myra Wool and Josiah Shackelford finishing it off. If you're Bowling Green, what do you want to see out of them defensively against what you expect Akron to draw up?
Well, the switching that they have been doing this entire run, they have to continue to communicate. They have switched. All the communication has been great. The problem is when that ball gets down in the paint, because they have been small, with Troy Glover now subbing in, they have collapsed in on those players, and they kick it out, Akron does, for a wide-open three.
Sharon Young will bring it up the court. 5-point Akron lead. 5 minutes to play at the Stroh Center. Akron is 11-1 with the lead with 5 minutes remaining this season. Bowling Green looking to be that second loss. Mahaffey inside, kicks it out. Tavari Johnson with it, guarded by Shackelford in front of the Akron bench. 2 in the shot clock, gets a triple up. It's short. It is rebounded, out of bounds. BG ball. Lyles was throwing it in, stepped out of bounds before he could get it in. Campbell also dove for it, but the Falcons will have possession. Down by 5, 4:35 to play.
And that's exactly what we talked about going into that timeout. A full 30 seconds before that shot goes up for the Zips.
Myra Wool has a season-high 32 points. He's on the floor with Troy Glover II, Josiah Shackelford, Sam Towns, and Javante Campbell. Campbell with the ball in front of the Bowling Green bench. Starts to make his move inside. Double teamed inside. Gives it off to Glover. Glover finishes it off with a baby hook with the right hand. 3-point game, 64-61. 4 minutes to play. Stroh Center gets loud. Tavari Johnson with the ball, guarded by Glover. Johnson picks up his dribble, gives it to Lyles. Mismatch on Campbell. Scramble for the ball. It's Bowling Green ball. Campbell forces the turnover. And we have hit the final media timeout of the game. 3:55 to play. 3-point game after it was once a 20-point deficit for the Falcons. They trail now just 64-61 against the Akron Zips.
On this next offensive possession for Bowling Green, they need to get Amari Lyles somehow and some way into the offense for Bowling Green. They have to go at him. He's got 4 fouls. He cannot, for Akron, foul at all. He is too important to this offense that they like to run to get a foul. If they can, Bowling Green can take it at him, they will have a better shot attempt than taking it at any other player for this Zips defense.
We'll stick here throughout this media timeout. Myra Wool's highest scoring game last season at Eastern Kentucky was 25 points. So this is now a new career high for Myra Wool, 32 points. A career game for the junior in his first season with the Falcons. He has single-handedly propelled Bowling Green into this position. He's going to need a little help if Bowling Green's going to finish it off.
Well,
Javante Campbell has 4 steals, 5 assists, 10 points, and a block to go along with 6 rebounds. Troy Glover has 9 rebounds with 8 points. Towns 7 points, 4 rebounds. Who do you want to see step up to help the Falcons try to win this one?
If it's not to Myar Wool, get it down low to Troy Glover. I know it's not the 3 that you guys are going to want, but Glover will be guarded by Lyles down low. Lyles has 4 fouls. Lyles cannot risk a foul. That will give Glover an easier shot opportunity down in the paint to make it a 1-point game. And if Lyles does end up fouling for that team, he's done, and that will give Bowling Green a much better opportunity down the line with 3:55 left to play.
Akron is going to run out Amani Lyles, Eric Mahaffey, Tavari Johnson, Evan Mahaffey, and Sharon Young. Bowling Green will run out Sam Towns, Javante Campbell, Myar Wool, Josiah Shackelford, and Troy Glover II. Bowling Green starting 5 out there, Akron starting 5 plus Evan Mahaffey. Josiah Shackelford brings the ball up the floor for Bowling Green, hands it off to Campbell. They lost it. Sharon Young takes it away. There is a foul. That might have been a point-saving foul if Akron can miss a free throw. If not, that is either way. That's a bad mistake. You have not seen Shackelford bring the ball up the floor much today. He did there. It was a designed handoff to Campbell. Akron read it like a book, and they stole it away as Young dove to the floor for it. Not exactly sure what the plan was there.
No, that was definitely not what the Falcons had drawn up.
Young hits the first from the line.
As you don't want to have that, especially coming out of a timeout like that. You want to have a play drawn up that you can score quick hitter for Bowling Green, but turning over, now putting Akron at the line.
And they put Akron's second best free throw shooter at the line, Sharon Young, 87.5%. The only better is Tavari Johnson, 90.5%. So it's a 5-point deficit for BG, 66-61. Ruffin with the ball, gives it off to Campbell. Campbell crosses the timeline. Fakes a move to the left, stays out beyond the arc. 15 on the shot clock. Campbell makes his move inside, spins out. Back out to the three-point line, gives it off to Wool. Wool thought about a deep triple, now moves in with the left hand. Spot up jumper, too strong, rebounded by Akron. Looks like a little bit of ISO basketball there, did not work. Tavari Johnson hands it off to Eric Mahaffey. Mahaffey holds it. gives it off to Evan Mahaffey. Evan Mahaffey over to Sean Young, makes two Falcons miss, and a fake three-point attempt, throws it away to Sam Towns. Towns running, gives it off to Ruffin. Ruffin driving inside, gives it back to Towns. Towns stripped away. Picked up by Evan Mahaffey. Golden opportunity for Bowling Green.
Just too much passing there for the Falcons. 3 players down low for Bowling Green. Passing it off and little hands off makes it easy for Akron to guard that.
Tavari Johnson with the ball. Gives it up top. Sean Young. Deep triple. Wide open. No good. Too strong off back iron. Evan Mahaffey flies in. Keeps it alive. Gives it off to Eric Mahaffey. He puts it up for 2. And he's fouled. He'll go to the line for a 3-point play.
And for Bowling Green, this is the one thing you cannot be doing is fouling and giving up offensive rebounds.
7-point lead for Akron. 2:32 to play. A chance to make it an 8-point advantage.
This puts a lot of pressure on Bowling Green on the offensive end, which is something they have started to slow down here.
The free throw goes 69-61. 8-point lead for the Zips. Campbell brings the ball up the floor. Interesting to see how this offense runs. Campbell likes to take his time to dissect. He might not have that available. He is right now surveying, going right to left, beyond the arc, gives it off to Wool to the right side. Wool, baseline, forced out of room, throws it off to Ruffin. He gives it up top to Towns. 5 in the shot clock for Bowling Green. Towns moving inside, almost travels, bobbles it, taken away by Tavari Johnson. Johnson gets it up the court to Evan Mahaffey. He puts it away for 2. Timeout Bowling Green, 71-61. Back to a 10-point advantage with 1:58 to play for Akron. And just like that, fans start moving up the stairwells here at the Stroh Center as this place is beginning to empty out. Bowling Green still alive, but not by much.
No, and those last couple possessions for the Falcons have just been terrible execution on the offensive end. Turnover, just a bad pass, just too much time. They're standing around trying to figure out what kind of offense they're going to run. Allowing this Akron defense, which we have talked about all game, being such a great defense, allowing them to get set, figure out what they want to do, how they're going to switch, and then as you go at them, they already know what they're doing because they're set. A set Akron defense is very hard to beat, and right now Bowling Green is beating themselves at this set Akron defense.
Bowling Green's going to need a heck of a comeback here. Down by 10 with 1:58 to play.
And with Meyer Wool's three-point shooting, you can get back into this game, but you have to find him open opportunities.
118 seconds to make something happen. Campbell brings the ball up the floor. Wool has 32 points today, a new career high. Campbell with the ball, swings it over to Wool. Thought about a triple, didn't have room. Gives it off to Shackelford to the corner. He flies in, gets 2 points in the layup. 71-63. Falcons didn't have a time to get a full court press. They'll fall back. Any foul sends Akron to the line for 2 shots. Scott kicks it out to Johnson for a triple. Does not go. Rebounded by Lyles on the offensive end. He resets to Scott up top. 1:20 to play. Bowling Green not fouling. Down by 8. Troy Glover guarding Scott. He will foul him as Scott blew right by him. Not on the shot. Akron wants it as the layup went. They're going to say it was before the shot attempt. So the Zips will go to the line for a chance to make it a 10-point game once again. Bowling Green needs points in some shape or fashion on this next possession to keep it alive.
Well, and they have to get points under 10 seconds. They cannot.
And you would imagine the full court press comes right after.
Absolutely. They cannot waste any time. And allowing Akron to get that offensive rebound and a couple offensive rebounds last couple of chances.
It's going to be interesting to see how their full court press works against the team that likes to get in the fast break, like Akron. 2 completely different styles. We'll go head to head. 72-63 after the made free throw. Glover is out, Towns is in. Both free throws made by Scott. Shema Scott puts Akron back into a double-digit lead, 73-63. Wool inbounds to Campbell. Campbell brings it up the floor. Campbell into the corner. Campbell to Wool in front of the Bowling Green bench. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay Bowling Green ball. 1:02 on the clock.
That was an 8 seconds of offense there for the Falcons. They're letting too much time tick off the clock. They need to start playing with a little bit more urgency with 1:02 left to play.
Campbell with the ball, 60 seconds to play. Campbell drives into the right, crosses over to the left through traffic. He will be fouled, did not make the layup. It will be on Tavari Johnson, and that will be Amani Lyles, and that will be his 5th, and he will be fouled out of the game. So the big man out for Akron finishes with 18 points, 10 rebounds.
And I would like to say that bodes well for the Falcons, especially offensive rebound-wise, but they have one more still, 5 offensive rebounds in this second half, and Amari Lyles has 2 of them.
73-63, 56.1 seconds to play. Campbell will be at the line for 2 free throws. Javante today, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals and a block. 3 for 11 from the field, 1 for 3 from deep, 3 for 6 from the line. Has not been a great shooting night for him. Hits the first. Campbell makes the second. 2 for 2 trip, 8-point game. 73-65. Falcons going to go full court press. Inbound to Shema Scott, double teamed in the corner. They're going to call a timeout. Bowling Green had the press working there, forced Akron to take a timeout.
And that's the perfect spot if you're Bowling Green, where you want to far pass, opposite side of where they were inbounding it, and into a corner.
It was the near side corner opposite of the Bowling Green bench.
With Myar Wool and Javon Ruffin, 2 lengthy guard forward combo guards, right on him.
So John Gross and Todd Simon will scheme up for the respective sides. Akron shooting 41.9% from the field, 32.4% from deep, 83% from the line. Bowling Green 43% from the field, 31.6% from deep, just 64% from the charity stripe. They've left 5 points at the line, 5 very important points at the line.
Yeah, those 5 points put this game into 1 possession for the Falcons, and they really need those at this point in the game.
And it'll be interesting to see what Todd Simon has to say post-game if Bowling Green is not able to come up with this win. Talking after the Kent State game, said we've got to make those plays down the stretch when we need to. Once Bowling Green got it within a 3 or a 5-point game, it just felt like they faltered, gave Akron the opening, and the Zips capitalized on it every single time.
Well, that's what makes Kent State and Akron, Miami, some of the top teams in the MAC, that when they get into these situational basketball plays where it's 2 minutes left, it's a minute left, it's a 3-point game, you know that they're going to execute whatever is in front of them. Bowling Green, to get over that hump, they have to start executing in those situational basketball plays at a higher level than they have this season.
Ever since Bowling Green cut it to a 3-point game, 64-61, with 4:11 to play, Akron has outscored the Falcons 9-4. Bowling Green has only made 1 field goal in that time. Akron beats the full court press. Sharon Young slips on the floor, falls out of bounds, and they're going to call a foul on Bowling Green. I don't think any Falcon touched him. He slipped.
Yeah, it looks like
he
there's
slipped under the rim.
A wet spot on the court.
That is. I don't know if that is a challengeable call.
I doubt it is.
There's free throws made at the line. Akron had the full court press beat. Young hits both from the line, 75-65. Boy, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, and I don't believe it's a challengeable call for the Falcons.
Seeing the replay.
There's not a single person who touches him.
Wall didn't touch him.
I think in this situation, situational basketball says foul, and you could hear head coach Todd Simon yelling foul. I think that ref expected Meyer Wool to foul.
Wall didn't touch him, though. That's an interesting one. Meyer Wool trying to pass it inside, stolen away. Tavari Johnson has it, gives it off, stolen away now by Towns. Towns gives it to Shackelford down low. Layup goes. 75-67, 30.4 to play. Bowling Green not dead yet.
And head coach Todd Simon looking for a call as he's talking to the refs on a 30-second timeout. So we'll stay here as we take it, as we talk you through it. But a lot of contact, a lot more contact, I should say.
I think Simon's arguing if you're going to give that one to us, give us one here.
Yes, I think that's exactly what he's arguing.
He wanted a makeup call, and they were not going to give it to him.
And with an 8-point deficit with 30 seconds left, every point is important for the Falcons.
.4 to play, 75-67. Bowling Green cannot slip up at all from this point on. Interestingly, if Akron stays under 80 here, it'll be their first win, scoring 70 to 79 points this year.
Well, we talked to head coach Todd Simon after that Kent State game, and they said they need to pick it up on the defensive end, and they have absolutely picked up the defense in this game.
75 points might not sound great, but this Akron team averages 94.5.
Yes, absolutely. Bowling Green has kept Akron out of the scoring like they normally do. The only problem for Bowling Green is they've struggled to score themselves.
Yeah. Shackelford fouls. Only took, if I'm reading that correctly, 0.2 seconds off the clock.
And that's what you need for Bowling Green. You need to get those time off the clock, allowing no time off the clock.
Todd Simon going to bring over his players and discuss. The Akron bench not happy in this. Notably not happy at that was Dustin Ford, the associate head coach for Akron, on the bench. First free throw is no good.
And that's exactly why he's upset.
And that is a rare miss by Tavari Johnson. Just his 5th miss this season on 43, now 44 attempts. Goes 1 for 2, 76-67. Campbell has to go fast. Javante, 25 seconds of the game clock, gives off to Wall. Wall launched the triple, too short, front iron, rebounded by Halligan. He's fouled by Towns. 18.2 on the game clock, and that should just about do it.
Yeah, Bowling Green down the line execution was the biggest problem for the Falcon team this game. Besides that 20-point deficit they had, they fought back into it. But when they got close, Akron, a veteran team, a team that knows back-to-back MAC championships, was able to just execute at a higher level.
Halligan misses the first at the line. And this is why Akron has 7 straight winning seasons. And they have won 6 MAC championships in the past 15 years. Ball knocked away from Campbell. It'll be Akron ball. Turnover forced by Shama Scott.
We'll get a challenge here by head coach Todd Simon with 12.5 seconds left to play.
Has the timeout to use it, why not?
Why not? You can't take him into the next game.
He left 2 timeouts on the board last game against Kent State. Has one to use here. He will offer it up for the challenge if it is unsuccessful. If it is successful, he'll get to keep it.
As it'll be up on the big board here for us.
Hard to see from the angle they're showing.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't tell anything from that angle.
Yeah. It's from the back side of the play, so we cannot see who touches it last before it rolls out of bounds. Need the sky cam in the arena.
Yes, we would. It would be nice to have a sky cam here in the Stroh Center, see what we have. But,
they could put it on the rails up at the top.
They could, yeah.
Run it on the railing.
I do wonder how much work that would be.
How much money?
Money, work for our video production crew here in the Stroh. Looks like it'll be an unsuccessful challenge by the Falcons.
That's what it appears as of now.
No, I'm going to be wrong on that. That's going to be a successful Falcons.
Successful.
Wow, they must have had a much better. Oh, they're showing it right here.
There's
the much better angle here for us. Holding it out until the very end to show us the good angle.
Oh, yeah. Campbell gets the ball, 10 seconds on the game clock. Campbell still holding it, gives off to Wall. Wall still holding it, 5 on the clock. He's going to pass it off to Towns. Towns will launch a triple, no good, and that will do it. Akron comes in to the Stroh Center, wins by 10 against Bowling Green, 77-67. They have now won 8 straight against the Falcons. Akron advances to 12-4, 3-1 in the MAC. Bowling Green falls to 11-6 and under 500 in conference play, 2-3 in the Mid-American Conference. The second straight win for the Zips, the second straight loss for the Falcons.
It's tough when you play two of the top teams projected in the MAC. Akron, who's gone back-to-back as MAC champions. Kent State, who has been one of the teams to always fight them for that MAC championship in a short span. I mean, last game was Tuesday. It's Friday now. They have played two very good teams in the span of 3 days. For Bowling Green, that's a tough run. But at the same time, they've been in both of these games. They need to figure out how to execute better down the stretch to come out on top of some of these games.
We'll stick with you here, run a bit of a post game. 13-6 was the run that Akron went on after Bowling Green cut it to a 3-point deficit. That's how Akron ended up closing out this game. Really set it into another gear once Bowling Green got close and really within striking range to finish it off. Myra Wool leads all scorers with 32 points, a new career high. He adds 5 rebounds. Amani Lyles leads Akron scorers with 18 points and 10 rebounds, a double-double. He fouled out of the game. 2 other double-digit scorers for Akron. Sharon Young scored 10, added 3 steals, tied with Evan Mahaffey for the team lead. Bowen Hardman scored 15 points, all on triples, made 5 of them. Other scorers for Akron, Shema Scott with 9. Tamari Johnson, the MAC's leading scorer, almost 21 points a game, scored just 4. Zach Halligan with 1, and Evan Mahaffey with 6. For Bowling Green, along with Wool, Campbell scored 12, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals and a block, filling the stat sheet as always. He played all 40 minutes. Troy Glover II, 8 points, 9 rebounds, added a block and 2 assists. Sam Talon, 7 points, 4 rebounds. Shackelford, 6 points, 3 rebounds, and Javon Ruffin, 2 points and 4 boards. As a team, Akron shot 42% from the field, 32% from deep, nearly 78% from the line. Bowling Green actually outshot Akron from the field 42.6 to 41.9. They shot just 6 for 21 from deep, 28.6%, and 9 for 14 from the line, 64.3%. Akron out rebounds Bowling Green 40 to 36, nearly double the Falcons in assists, 19 to 10. Final takeaways from this one, Foster Rostein.
This team, if Bowling Green is going to want to continue to play at a high level, they're going to have to figure out how to execute down the line. 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left. That's where this Bowling Green team has shown their biggest flaws, letting teams like Akron go on a 13-6 run when they make it a 3-point game. They're going to have to figure it out how to win in tight, close final game situations. And once they start to do that, then they'll start to show that they could make a run at the MAC championship. They can make a run, at the regular season MAC championship. So for Bowling Green, if they want to start winning games, they got to start connecting down the line.
For Bowling Green, they are now through the toughest part of their conference schedule, but they are also under 500 in the record book at 2-3, and I'm sure they'll be close to the brink of the MAC tournament once the standings evolve after this weekend. It's still very early on. What signs do you see from this Bowling Green team that are positive sticking out to you that make you think that they can turn it on into a second gear as we head through conference play and be able to be in a point where they can take down some of these top teams come tournament time?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they were down 20 early in this game, and they got it all the way back to a 3-point Akron lead. Now, that means they can fight back into it, and we've seen it all season. They fought back into plenty of games. It's not just this one. Davidson, William & Mary, Utah Valley.
Yeah.
Against these high-ranking opponents, A10 teams, they've fought their way back into it, but they've just never gotten over the hump. And I do believe this team has what it takes to get over that hump and start to take those games away.
So next up for Bowling Green, the Falcons will wait a week until they play Eastern Michigan on January 17th. That'll be at home. For Akron, the Zips will be faced up on the 13th against Ball State at home. They'll also face Western Michigan at home. 24 straight home wins for the Zips. So they'll return to James A. Rhodes Arena, the Jar, and try to continue their dominance there. But once again, Akron defeats Bowling Green 77-67 in this contest at the Stroh Center as they pick up their 8th consecutive win against the Falcons. Falcons unable to end those long losing streaks to Kent State and the Zips in back-to-back contests. Before we go off the air here, I want to send a few thank yous around. First to Artie Abrego. He wrote the preview for this contest, was unable to make it here for the game. He's still in Chicago before returning for school here on Monday. So big shout out to Artie for continuing coverage during winter break as well. Would like to thank you, Foster, for jumping on here short notice. Doing a great job as always. And also continuing a ton of coverage behind the scenes and on air during this winter break as a local. We'd also like to thank Dawson Pelter for doing the recap for us over here to the right of me. Doing a great job. Also doing our socials on Twitter X if you saw any of those. Henry Costco down there in the court somewhere, probably setting up in the media room right now, doing a highlight video for us. You can find all of the content on bgfalconmedia.com. And then would also like to thank Holden Ruck back in the Falcon Radio studio for doing a great job as always. Holden, for multiple years in a row now, has done a lot of the dirty work that you don't really hear about or see during our winter break to keep our content up the way we do it, behind the scenes, board operating for us and uploading all of these broadcasts. So huge shout out to him. Does a great job as always. But for the whole Falcon Media Sports Network crew, this is Tyler Kavlitz saying have a great night, everybody. This broadcast has been a Falcon Media Sports Network production. For more BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter X at BG_FMSN, BG Falcon Media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and head over to BGFalconmedia.com.